Hello, everyone. I'm Denise Boggs, and I want to welcome you as we journey together through healing the heart. We're continuing in our study about the Stony Heart. And one area that I want you to be aware of is if you've closed your heart as a child to a parent, a father or mother, you closed your heart because it was too painful, okay? For me, it was painful because I kept thinking my daddy would come home and he never came. He never came back. So I closed my heart. I closed down my hope of having my daddy back in my home. And, that's how I learned to survive. When painful things happen as children, you have to just survive many times. Learning survival. I learned to survive. But what happened, and Paul talks about it here in Ephesians, and it's in chapter 4 that I want to point out. It's like in verse 19, it says that we can become just calloused and unfeeling. And I was that way. My heart was closed towards my dad. And I didn't even have any feelings. I was unfeeling because I had literally learned to just live with my heart closed towards my dad because it was too painful to hope he would come. Or even when it was time for him to come visit and visitation and take me with him for a day, he wouldn't show up. He wouldn't come. So, if you've grown up in a divorced family, you may identify with that. Hope deferred makes your heart sick. And so I just closed my heart. I didn't want to hope anymore. I didn't want to be disappointed anymore. But I didn't know what that was doing to my heart until I read this verse. And listen to this. It says, they are emptiness. They have emptiness in their soul. In verse 17, and it says that they have emptiness in their soul. And they're really even in the futility of their mind and the emptiness of their soul. Their understanding and their reasoning becomes cloudy. My understanding of my dad, my reasoning became so cloudy. And then it says they are alienated and self-banished from the life of God. Self-banished. Now, I had no idea, and I'm sure you didn't either, that God calls us to a place in Him where we can live the fullness of all of His blessings. The fullness. But any area of our heart that we can't even feel anymore, we're closed to the fullness of His blessing. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, but also the openness of the heart, our heart receives the blessings of God. And so I was self-banished from the fullness of blessing. And so every area where my heart was closed to my dad, I'm also closed to my husband, and I'm even closed to the Lord. I couldn't even receive the full blessing that He was wanting to give because my heart's closed because my daddy didn't give. My daddy didn't provide. He did not provide alimony. He didn't provide. So I'm not expecting God to provide. And so what we have to see is we can be alienated, self-banished from the life of God, the full blessings of God, because of the emptiness of our soul and the hardness of our heart. I had hardened my heart towards my dad. And I'm finding out after so many years of ministry, I want to say this to you. You'll notice in my teachings, I talk a lot about my dad, but I've realized that God talks a lot about our dads too, okay? Paul even says, fathers, don't exasperate your children to anger, to wrath. Fathers, don't. So, but it's like your earthly father is so significant in your life, and that if he was not there for you, if he left, abandoned, hurt you in some way, it affects your heart. Even more so than your mother. Your mother, yes, is the nurturing one, but your father is the one that affects your spirit, because he represents your Father God, the one that awakens your spirit to life. And so you can be shut down and self-banished from God and his blessings because you're shut down because of the pain of the past and the pain that you felt from your father. But guess what? Jesus said, I came to heal your broken heart and set you free. So we have to ask Jesus into our heart and ask him to bring healing and awaken our spirit, because I had been shut down for 20 years. How long have you been shut down? How long has your heart been closed? There's been a stone there, so you can't receive, you can't feel. When we're unfeeling, that's a good indicator. We're banished. We're self-banished from the life of God, the fullness that he wants to give you. So how long have you been shut down? Every stone in the heart shuts down your ability to receive. I'm going to talk about that next time. I'm going to go to Matthew 13, and I'm going to talk about how Jesus taught this parable of the Stony Heart. And it's the most important parable. It's recorded in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, this parable of the condition of the heart, and how Jesus taught us that with a stony heart, we can't receive a word of truth, his word, his truth, and it produce a harvest in our life. So next time we want to talk about that. Okay, God bless you.